what I've discovered is that when we truly love ourselves, we become firm about who we are and what we stand for, and what aligns with us and what doesn't align with us. The relationship that we have with ourselves is not just another relationship. It's the foundation that everything's built upon. Hey there, and welcome back to the Create Your Next Breakthrough podcast. My name is Edmund Lee, and today I want to go ahead and share something that I've been reflecting on deeply. It's what I believe might be the most important relationship that we'll ever have in our lives. And that's the relationship with ourselves. You know, I used to think that our primary relationships were the ones with our spouse, our family, our friends. But through my journey, I've come to realize that the relationship that we have with ourselves actually shapes everything else in our life. Now, why is that? Well, what I've discovered in my own journey is that the relationship that we have with ourselves seems to be connected to every result that we get in life. From what I've observed, it appears to influence the state of our health. It shapes the quality and the depth of our relationships. And it even affects our wealth and our financial status. Now think about it. There's three main areas that govern a person's life: their health, their wealth, and their relationships. Throughout the entirety of our lives, at least one, if not all of them, will be at the forefront of our minds. Now let's start with health. I've noticed how our health really tells a story about us. Are we healthy? Are we sick? Are we fit? Are we overweight? Are we mentally sharp? Or are we mentally slow? What I found fascinating is that everything, how we look, how we feel, how mentally sharp we are, they're all reflections of our choices. What we choose to put into our bodies, highly nutritious food or highly processed foods. How much food we consume. Do we consume large amounts of food? Or do we consume moderate amounts of food? How much we exercise, or how little we exercise? How much we sleep, or how little we sleep? Each of these alone might seem very innocent, but what I've discovered when diving deeper is that they tell a bigger story. They tell the story of how we feel about ourselves, the respect that we have for ourselves, the love that we have for ourselves, or the lack of. Because what I've come to understand is this: when we truly love ourselves, we naturally develop the discipline to take care of our bodies, to give it the foods that fuel and energize it. We find the discipline to exercise and physically take care of our bodies, to do the things that will keep them in tip-top shape. We prioritize adequate sleep and giving our bodies time to rest. These are all ways of caring for our body, of caring for ourselves, of showing ourselves love through these simple actions, through simple habits. Not always easy, but when done, and done consistently, they become perhaps the greatest form of love towards ourselves. And then there's wealth. I've noticed how our relationship with wealth tells another profound story about us. How's our wealth? How's our finances? How's our career? Are we doing what we love? Or do we hate what we do for a living? Are we consciously creating our lives? Or are things just happening by accident? Are we setting goals? Are we wandering through life randomly? Are we planning our lives consciously? Again, each of these alone might seem very innocent. But what I've found when looking deeper is that they tell a bigger story. They tell the story of how we feel about ourselves, the respect that we have for ourselves, the love that we have for ourselves, or the lack of. What I've learned is that when we truly love ourselves, we give ourselves permission to experience abundance in our lives, to consciously decide what we want to achieve in this lifetime, to have a destination in mind, for what we want to create in our lives, having goals, having dreams, having the discipline, having the habits, consciously creating a reality so that we can have money, so that we can be productive, so that we can be fulfilled and have abundance. All of these play a role in our wealth. And regardless of what people may say, I've come to believe that money matters. It's important to have money. It opens up doors. It opens up doors to do more, to be more, to give more. And if we're not happy with our situation, if we're not happy with what we created, what I've discovered is that it all comes down to self-love, doing the things that move us forward, doing the things that will move us towards our goals and dreams. Doing these things is showing love for ourselves. And not doing them, it's punishing ourselves. It's creating a life of misery, of unfulfillment, of lack, of regret. And then there's relationships. This might be where it all becomes clear. You have romantic relationships, professional relationships, and friendships. Again, it all comes back to self-love. Who do we allow into our circle? People who inspire us or people who drain us? People who are aligned with the greatest version of ourselves or people who aren't? How do we allow others to treat us? With respect? Or do we accept being treated poorly? What I've come to understand is that what we allow into our lives all comes back to self-love. We tell others how we want to be treated based on how we see ourselves, how we love ourselves, how much we respect ourselves, how we treat ourselves, and more importantly, how we communicate with ourselves. I've learned that people are not inherently bad. We tell others how we want to be treated based on the love that we have for ourselves. Feeling overwhelmed? Feeling like we're not being respected? Then perhaps it's time to have stronger boundaries, to know what we stand for, and what we'll allow into our lives, and what we won't allow into our lives. And when things don't align, when people don't align, it's having the strength to say no, to know what we stand for, and to be firm. To be firm knowing that we know what's best for us at this particular time. Because what I've discovered is that when we truly love ourselves, we become firm about who we are and what we stand for, and what aligns with us and what doesn't align with us. And all these will change as we continue to change and evolve throughout our lives. And you know what strikes me the most as I reflect on all this? It's that the relationship that we have with ourselves, it's not just another relationship. It's the foundation that everything's built upon. When we strengthen this core relationship, when we truly begin to value and honor ourselves, something remarkable happens. Our health transforms, our wealth expands, and our relationships, they deepen. Because ultimately, the love that we have for ourselves, it's the blueprint. It's the blueprint for everything that we create in our lives. It's the difference between settling and soaring, between existing and truly living. And here's the beautiful truth that I discovered. We all have the power to strengthen this relationship, to be kind to ourselves, to give to ourselves, to let ourselves receive all the good things that life has to offer. And when we do that, when we finally make peace with ourselves and learn to love ourselves fully, that's when life begins to change. That's when things begin to transform. And that's when we create our most powerful breakthroughs. And here's a special bonus gift for our listeners. We're all about getting you into alignment so you can live a life that you love. It's a breathwork meditation that I highly suggest that you do. Go through it, experience it, and share with me the results. You can access it at www.createyournextbreakthrough.com, or you can check it out in the description below. This has been your host, Edmund. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one.